Hi, we're Ginger and Greg.
In our last video, we installed one of our windows and our roof hatch, but we also received a broken window for our dinette. We're happy to report that since then, the manufacturer in China has provided us with a new window at absolutely no cost to us. Now that we have our final window installed, we're ready to insulate with closed cell spray foam. But a lot has happened in the last 10 weeks that you haven't seen yet. So before we start insulating, let's take a quick look back. Remember when Greg demoed the original electrical panel in the ambulance? Well, it looks totally different now, and it's in a brand new location. Greg spent weeks working on this, and it's not even done yet.
Tell us how many more days of this you think you have?
I don't know.
We haven't put out any videos on this because, honestly, it's just a lot of this. Greg wiring things up and being so focused that he's not doing a lot of talking. Once we really get everything up and running, we'll definitely be doing more in-depth videos on our entire electrical system. We did receive our Tesla batteries, which is really exciting, but we haven't installed them yet. So while we don't have the battery side of the system installed yet, we were able to install our Victron inverter and test it to ensure that it's working with shore power. So that's one thing that we can definitely check off our list. In order for Greg to build this new electrical closet, we actually had to rough in our toilet room, which we hadn't thought about beforehand. This meant that we had to use rigid foam insulation on one half of the back wall so that we could close it up and build that room. One of my biggest pet peeves with van life and any kind of DIY camper build videos is that people tend to edit them in a way that makes things look like they happen in a very organized manner. And that's just not reality. Having to insulate this wall with a different type of insulation and close it up is a perfect example of that. While Greg was working on the electrical, I spent time patching the dozens of holes around the ambulance. This is not a glamorous project, but it's definitely a necessary one. Once I had all the holes patched, I moved on to removing the vinyl decals that were on the back and sides of the ambulance. This is tedious work, and it's definitely not fun. We are planning to paint the ambulance at some point, and we even have the color picked out, but I'm not sure that's going to happen anytime soon. It's really going to depend on where our budget ends up when we're done with the build out. Inside the ambulance, I was able to gain us 2 inches of headroom by removing non-structural beams that we found after demoing the ceiling. During this period, I somehow found time to also come down with pneumonia. How did I get this? That took me out of the build for a solid 3 weeks. But by the time we installed our solar panels, I was feeling ready to go again. Needing a break after almost a month of electrical work, Greg decided to custom fabricate mounts for our water tanks. You guys might remember from our floor plan video that we're going to have 3 freshwater tanks for a total of 90 gallons, and one of those tanks is going to be outside. Our gray water tank is also going to be outside. This isn't ideal, and it's not what we had originally planned. Even though the tanks are going to be outside, there's a lot we can do to still make this a winter camping capable rig. We added tank heaters and insulation around the tanks themselves. Last but certainly not least, Greg tackled his largest fabrication project to date. He designed and built 2 custom racks for the rear of the ambulance. Since we'll be upgrading to 41-inch single tires, we need somewhere to carry the 350-pound spare tire. We also need a place for the outside portion of our mini split air conditioner and a way to carry our mountain bikes. These racks needed to be installed before we could spray foam, because when you're carrying that much weight on swingable racks, you really need super heavy-duty hinges. They are rated for thousands and thousands of pounds, and crazy reinforcement. After weeks of hard work, the racks are finally done and installed. They're just ready to be painted. I'm gonna let Greg show you the racks and then we'll get into insulating.
Welcome to the back of our ambulance. So I have built this massive rack. Actually, it's two pieces. So on the passenger side will be the rack for the spare tire. So I still have to cut the opening for the spare tire, but basically the spare tire is going to be sticking here and sitting on the bumper. We also have the mount for the bicycles. So the bicycle are going to go on those two posts. And on the driver's side, we will have the AC, the air conditioner outdoor unit of our mini split will be sitting on top here. Yeah, so this is gonna be obviously painted. You're just gonna paint that setup in black, I believe. And yeah, if you want, I can show you around. To open this, we can do it from the inside or from the outside. From the outside, it's a little bit tricky because I still haven't opened the cutout, and I may add the mechanism to make it a little bit easier. But currently, I just have to stick my hand here, and voila. So when we open the door of the ambulance, it's also opening basically the rack with this little mechanism that I've put together. So we'll have, again, the bottom part is going to be for the spare tire, and the top will be some storage. I also, so you can see here behind where the original light for the ambulance. So I currently have the wires out, but I've currently not installed the lights. So those lights are going to be installed on each side of the ambulance for well, headlights. And on the other side, so the other side is locked. I have like a pin mechanism. So basically, I just have to remove one pin, open that side, and like that we can open the door. Basically, this top section would be the AC and some more storage, probably for firewood or yeah, trash. If we are like in an area where we're camping far away from civilization, we can put our trash in there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
All right, so here are the boxes for our closed cell spray foam. It's a 2-tank system, so you're using both tanks at the same time. So we need to make sure that the tanks are between 70 and 85, using one of these infrared thermometers. 72, 73, yeah, so we're good. So now what we have to do is we have to roll them on their side for 3 minutes. How do you want to do that, Greg?
Well, I was thinking we could, there's like a down slope here, so maybe we could put them on the side, roll them, and see who goes further or who's the fastest to go to the end.
My zipper just completely broke. So I guess we're gonna have to run like painter's tape just all the way up. We already had these respirators, but we had to get special cartridges. They're organic vapor cartridges. Super important because the safety sheet for this foam basically says you can die if you breathe it in. Doesn't quite say it like that, but yet it does. Insulating the ambulance with closed cell spray foam is costing us 2 to 3 times more than if we had used rigid foam. So now is probably a good time to explain why we're making this investment. First of all, it's important to know that closed cell spray foam is different than the foam you can get in a can at the hardware store. That foam is most likely open cell. Closed cell spray foam is made up of cells that are, as the name suggests, completely closed. The cells are pressed together so air and moisture are unable to get inside of the foam. Because of this, closed cell spray foam forms a vapor barrier that will shield our metal walls from condensation. And that is the number one reason that we chose to use closed cell spray foam. Closed cell spray foam has an R value of R7 per inch. That's way more than any other form of traditional insulation for a van or camper. Because closed cell foam is designed to expand to about 1 inch of thickness when sprayed, each inch offers a value of R7. So in our case, with 2 inches, this is about R14. A huge bonus of going this route is that this foam creates a pretty much impenetrable barrier to mice and other kind of rodents that might like to find their way inside the camper. And you guys know, I really can't handle mice in my camper.
We just need to paint your face green and you'd look like Oompa Loompa from Willy Wonka.
It's hot. It's definitely more difficult than I expected.
Alright, so I'm going to take this blade and I'm going to basically go through and even everything out so that nothing is sticking out over the beams. I feel like this is going to be a huge job. We'll see. As I'm going around, I'm going to mark any places I see that need to be filled in. And when I'm done, Greg will come out and fill in, and then I'll, I guess, trim again, and then we'll be done. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so this is the aftermath of my cutting. As you can see, it's a lot. I've been out here a couple of hours. Greg had to do some work to get ready for a meeting. So I've been out here for a couple hours, and yeah, I mean, it takes you longer to cut off the excess than it does to spray it in the first place. But there are sections of the wall that look pretty good. For example, I mean, this section looks pretty perfect. You can tell that it goes right to the post, beam, however you want to call it, and it's pretty even. That looks great. Then there are other sections, especially on the ceiling where Greg used the cone nozzle, that are just really lacking. So I've marked them, and he's going to come back out and do a little bit more foaming. But yeah, overall it looks pretty good. So a little bit more foam, a little bit more cutting, and that'll be it for this project. Oh, it's cold. Cheers. Okay, full wrap up of the insulation.
I thought that it was a little bit more difficult than what I was expecting, just because it's I don't know, not as smooth, I guess, than I was hoping. And
I mean, the people in the Tiger Foam video are obviously professionals and have had some kind of training on how to spray it perfectly.
yeah, I mean, I think it's helped if you have more
Space?
space, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of our cavities, would you call them? I don't know. Some of our cavities are only like 8 inches by 6 inches, like the small ones under the window. I mean, it's not a lot of space.
Yeah.
So the cutting though, like trimming back the excess foam, is exhausting. I have blisters on my hands from holding the saw.
Well, why do you have excess foam?
Why do we have excess foam? Because you sprayed excess foam.
Oops.
Oops. Yeah, that part sucks, and that takes way longer than actually spraying the foam on. And that's where, I mean, paying a professional to do it would have been nice. But Greg never.
I would think that a professional, you still have to do that.
I mean, they would have done it. We wouldn't have had to do it.
You're lazy.
Anyways.
Like that you can say I've done it.
This is a huge step for us, though, the insulation, because, I mean, now we can really build out the inside.
Almost.
What do you mean?
Well, first we have to cut the pan for the shower.
But that's still on the inside.
Yeah.
That's still the inside.
Ish.
We're inside. The shower is inside.
We'd have to make a hole in.
Oh my god. Anyways, now we can build out the inside. And what Greg is going on and on about is that we first have to cut the shower pan. Ah, don't tickle me. No. Greg is going on and on that we have to cut the shower pan first before we lay our floor. Totally true. Then we're gonna lay 1 inch of pink foam on the wall on top of the spray foam, and then our HDPE plastic wall panels. But yeah,
1/4 inch.
1/4 inch plastic wall panels. So if there was ever a leak behind the walls, which with that insulation I really doubt it, it could never mold or mildew or rot. All right, I'm excited. I mean, I really want to just build out the inside, and I want to be back on the road.
I know.
He says it like that because he's sick of me saying that this is moving slow.
I am.
But now we can build out the inside, and that's the part that I think is going to be the most fun. Like seeing the kitchen and the dinette come together, I think is going to be fun. You do realize that our original time frame had us back on the road in like 8 weeks. Do you think that's even remotely possible?
In 8 weeks from now?
Yeah.
Everything's possible.
Really?
I don't know, we'll see.
That would be amazing to be back on the road by the end of October. Oh, I'd be so excited.
Yeah, we shall see.
All right. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.